Oh, right, I'm sorry. How are you all this evening? Every time is no time to exist.
Wonderful.
We will decide. We can request things.
Sure.
Yes.
How are you this day?
Perfect. Well, how are you? Once again. Thank you. Question.
I have a question. I went, for the first time, something I wanted to do for a long time was go into a bar where there were women dancing totally nude. And see what that experience was like, and what went on in those places. So I went the other night, and I found it to be really interesting. But I also wonder, that like I found interesting the reaction of the man. I found interesting. I was the only woman spectator in the whole place, just like the women that were dancing. And I would think that you would have anything on your plans that people would need to dance naked. I'm just curious. Like, for instance, in our society, there's a thing about nakedness. Like, we have clothes on most of the time, and then if you want to watch someone go dancing naked, you go to some bar, and everybody's really kind of excited about it. What do you do on your planet as far as you don't think like that?
All right, now, understand that to some degree there will be individuals, in a sense, who will, from time to time, allow themselves the opportunity to remove the idea symbology in that sense that you call clothing. But there will be, again, as with everything, simply spontaneous reaction within situations which will be in that way spontaneously designed for the purpose of creating an atmosphere of that type in which, therefore, the actions will seem perfectly natural. You follow me?
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but then isn't that the same as what we're doing here? Isn't that a spontaneous act? Isn't everything a spontaneous action?
Not in the sense as you understand the idea of spontaneity. Understand that there is the idea within what you have described of the pre-planning, and there is, again, as you have described, many idea symbols which are being explored or experienced within that particular action. There are also, within your society, attachments of idea symbology, both positive and negative to that idea. Understand, first of all, in that way, it is not that what occurs in that way upon our civilization occurs for the idea in and of itself in that way for the viewing by anyone else, though if there are individuals around, does not matter. For simply it will more represent for the individual partaking of that action simply the act itself of the enjoyment of the expression at that time. But always again will always be perfectly timed to occur within, I'll say, atmosphere or situation which will blend and enhance the idea in that way. You follow me?
Well, yeah, as much as I...
Alright, then simply, only in the sense that there will not be, to a large degree, what you term to be the taboo involved with regard to the experience of the body without clothing form.
Yeah, which seems to make it enhance that excitement.
Yes.
More attention on it.
There will be more along the lines that you experience from your world of simply the gathering in certain areas and the enjoyment in that way of the natural form without the clothing. You follow me?
Without necessarily the idea of beauty we have here is very limited as far as humans, as far as our forms go. Certain things are considered beautiful and certain forms are not. Like heavy forms are not considered beautiful. Like in this club that I went to, there was a very beautiful woman with beautiful, we would consider beautiful forms. Dancing naked, I didn't see one overweight, woman that we wouldn't consider, we would think of as a beautiful form. And I was wondering if where you live, if you don't have such a limitation on the idea of what beauty is.
All right. In that way, then understand that we do not allow ourselves to experience the idea limitation as you have described it, but also there is, in that way, within our society, no one who is also overweight.
They simply don't need to experience that.
Thank you. Question?
I have a question on all that is.
All right.
My question is, I've been listening to some tapes, and we are all that is, or I am all that is.
All right.
When I think of that, I think that, well, then that means the war that's going on this planet, or any other wars, or what I would consider maybe negative conditions that are occurring anywhere, would be part of me also, and
Any sense? Yes.
Like that.
All right. But understand, you are not then physically involved in those wars, are you?
No, I'm not.
Thank you. But you have agreed in that way to share within a reality that does experience those ideas.
Okay, I get an idea that I'm then partially responsible for those things going on.
You are not responsible for anyone else.
Right.
You are responsible to the idea of being exactly who and what you are within the overall mass consciousness. Understand, the idea of responsibility is not blame. It is choice. Freedom of choice to be what you are. You can exist, coexist with many other different realities within the overall reality of your mass consciousness. Does not mean in that way that you are reinforcing the creation or continuation of the, I would say, expenditure of negative energy. But you might be willing to share a civilization that does contain it for the service of providing an opportunity to be the reality that does not contain that idea anymore, and allow those individuals to view your reality as a choice they may also make if they wish to not have that idea anymore. Thank you. Question?
Bashar, I have been reading quite a lot on Ra, and I think I have a kind of a bridge or whatever it is on the terminology of harvesting. I understand what you're saying.
All right. Thank you. Very, very, very simply. Simply understand that when you create as a mass civilization, or even as an individual, your own patterns, cycles of energy, cycles of awareness, cycles of consciousness, you will then, within the framework you call time, create a beginning and an ending to a cycle. You follow me so far?
Yes.
Therefore, at the ending of every cycle, the vibration to which you identify at that point will determine the type of reality you experience or project yourself into at the beginning of the next cycle. Any passage through from one cycle to the next, through that doorway, is called harvesting, and it is self-imposed.
And it is self-imposed.
Yes, everything is.
I understand that.
Therefore, no matter what reality you identify with, no matter what vibration you choose to continue or change the experience of within the next cycle, every individual, by your definition in that way, is harvested by themselves. All go through the cycles, but not all cycle into the same reality.
Okay. That helps to quite a degree, because I keep getting the idea that whether I have anything to say about it or not, I keep getting this, maybe it's a misconception, that I will continue going into what I don't want to go into. And I mean, this is what I'm getting.
All right, but 'tis because you are using the definition of your terminology for harvest as something that is done to you, not by you. Because in your, I'll say, day-to-day experience of the term harvest, it is something you do to something else.
But this is in my own doing this.
Always.
To advance to something more, that would be, and going through one cycle to another, that is...
Whatever cycle you allow yourself to identify with, whatever reality vibration you create for your reality, will be the determining idea of whatever reality you cycle into. You will go to that reality to which you identify. It can be really no other way.
So only with my own agreement do I go there.
Always.
Okay, because it sounded a bit to me like they were choosing who was this way and who was that way.
But again, understand that you have already the knowledge and the background, as you would say, to understand the view that you are in control of your entire reality. And when looked at from that viewpoint, you yourself would then create the understanding of what is meant by harvest, by trusting that you are always in control.
I think that's what threw me, was that I had this so thoroughly within me, and then all of a sudden, wham, I feel myself, well, am I really in the clutches of something else?
All right. But again, understand you had created then for yourself the opportunity to realize that there may have been still one more area where you were very willing to give your power away.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question.
I've been hearing about moving into a fourth density, fourth dimension. Can you tell me more about what that really is all about? I mean, here we are in the third dimension, but I really don't know what you mean by the fourth dimension.
All right, thank you. There will be, again, different definitions according to different perceptions of physical and non-physicality. Physicality in the fourth density will simply be the next cycle of your own creations. You will still, to yourselves, to some degree, seem physical. You will, however, be in what you would perceive from this dimension to be a refined state of matter energy, light bodies. Your world will take on the idea of being slightly more refined in vibration. You follow me?
Yes.
It will vibrate, in a sense, to a higher frequency. It will be more aligned, more in tune to the overall idea that you would call the background frequency of all that is.
That's a hologram?
In a sense.
Is that sort of more transparent or something? I mean...
to some degree, understand that to third density vibration, it will be completely transparent, yes.
Oh, third density would be able to see that.
Very good.
But I'm trying to understand, like, could I be like a similar situation, like sitting in this room, but and be a fourth density, like.
Yes, but your room that you would be creating would also be fourth density, not third.
What I've understood is that the fourth density is that if you would be in the fourth density, you could see him, but you could put your finger through him.
You would not necessarily be able to perceive. There may be abilities of third density beings to connect with their fourth density perception. Yes, but understand that what you are perceiving from is fourth density perception, not third density.
But when are you in that state? When can I be in that state?
Again, understand that you have your timing with the overall mass consciousness. Understanding that way, that first of all the end of your cycle, as you have called it, is occurring right now and is moving from this point forward into, I'll say, what you previously and right now presently would determine as of this moment in time to be the next 20 years. Therefore, the passing of your density vibration is ongoing, and will continue in that way to be ongoing for the next 20 of your years, approximately.
Okay, that will be a breakthrough like going to the moon.
In a sense, but understand that many individuals do not necessarily perceive in that way that you have made the shift.
But if there's a majority of people that will understand that in 20 years, then it will be automatic for everybody else to get to that place.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like everybody's using the computer today from the age of 4. That was unknown 30 years ago. But because everybody is tuned in computer knowledge, then everybody is.
Yes. When there is, in that way, the majority, as you say, consciousness, geared toward the conscious recognition of the fourth density vibration, then there will be a fourth density world in that way. Thank you.
Some people might arrive at that fourth density earlier.
In a sense. In a sense.
In 5 years.
How in a sense? I mean, what do you
In a sense that it will depend upon their purpose and their connection to the mass consciousness as it is experiencing the transition. If there is need for some to, quote unquote, go on ahead, then some will.
What if I want to?
It will be according to what you have chosen.
My desire?
According to what you have already chosen.
In the past? Or right
Before
now?
this previous physical life.
I see. So I really don't have any
Yes, you made your choice. You have all the say in the world. Understand, you know exactly what you want to do.
The process is going on.
Yes. Therefore, that is why we say, understand that what is your physical reality is the unfoldment of the purpose you have chosen.
So the more we accept it, the more we go along with the physical place that we are, the smoother our life is.
And the more conscious you become of the transition, then you will be there.
So what I'm wondering is, in that transition, would I just know that I won't, wake up one day and now I'm in fourth density? Would I?
In a sense, it may occur like that for some individuals, yes.
But then, would I still? Let's say I have decided to do that earlier than the mass. Would that mean all of a sudden I wouldn't be here? I'd be somewhere else? Or would I still be with all the people I know here? Or?
It would depend upon, again, your purpose, your ability in that way to recognize consciously your purpose, because you may give yourself fourth density beingness, but not be able to relate to anything but third dimensionally symbols. You follow me?
The symbols being the people and
Yes.
and houses?
Therefore, you would create for yourself the same replica ideas. You would still perceive third dimensional ideas in that way, but you could be fourth density.
Okay, and they would perceive me.
They would perceive you because you are creating them.
Okay, I might want to do that to show them what the fourth density is like.
Understand again, if you make a transition to fourth density, but your mentality cannot, all right, in your vernacular, handle the idea completely, you will replicate round and about yourself the facsimile again, still, of your third dimensional existence, and continue to carry on as if nothing has changed, to ease yourself into the transition. If you can, in that way, make the transition abruptly, then yes, it could be that you will wake up one morning, everything will be very different. Attitudes, people around you, situations, everything.
But would I still be here in this world, or?
Why does that matter?
I don't know if it really does.
Thank you. Understand, you would not know where or when you would be anyway. It is all within you. Understand that if you were, in a sense, I would say by analogy, to get into one of our ships upon your planet, travel to our planet and get out and stand upon the surface of our planet, how would you know when you were? Or really where? Or what dimension? Or what time? It would not matter. The experience in and of itself is all you would care about. Therefore, to say, am I really still here, has no meaning.
Well, no, I'm still here. I would still be here. My viewpoint would have shifted.
Yes, very good.
This reality would still be continuing on.
In a sense, yes. Yes.
What I'm trying to get a grasp of is like how would like, this is crazy, but how would a typical day be in the fourth reality? I mean,
how do you imagine it will be?
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead, play along. Yes.
Oh, just a minute. I'd probably get up.
Oh, just imagine. Yes, just imagine. What would you do if you considered yourself to be fourth density? All right now you are fourth density. What do you do on a day-to-day basis? Do you have days?
No.
All right, she does not have days. You might.
I don't know. I'm trying to understand
What do you perceive to be the ideas, the reality of what you would call a new age upon your planet?
It seemed to me that any idea or thought that you had to do anything or have anything, whatever, would basically occur instantly.
Almost. You are still in time.
It would occur very quickly.
Very good.
And that's very real.
Very good.
I was, reading some of this, what Seth was talking about other spiritual universes or dimensions or whatever,
Yes.
that this does occur.
Yes.
I have experienced this when I was sleeping.
Oh, yes.
Out of body experience where this did occur, and it gave me an incredibly good feeling, and I felt that it could be this way.
All right, very good. Now understand that your phraseology could be puts the idea still in the future.
Well, it was.
Is. Understand that the idea is not that you are going to become fourth density. It is that you are allowing yourself to become aware of that portion of yourself that is already fourth density. You are shifting your viewpoint to that you. Becoming that you now. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd just like to give a comment here.
All right.
I've been getting tremendous benefits from listening to your talks. I only attended 3 of them a couple months ago.
All right.
I've done some reading, but I've had a tremendous change. What is it?
Explosion of coincidence.
Is basically every day.
Thank you. Very good. But understand, it is from nothing we have said. It is from what you have said to yourself. You have allowed us to reflect to you those things you know yourself to be, for allowing us to provide the service of acting as a mirror for you. Thus, we are given the gift of sharing consciousness with you. Therefore, we will thank you. Question.
Thank you.
Sure, I'd like to make a statement.
All right.
I've been having communication with my children. They aren't here with me. One's in Northern California, and others in Nevada, New Mexico. And I have been getting, in the past, very down-tone letters.
Down-tone?
Well, yes, I mean, they're saying that, well, to me, the down-tone. They
all right.
Okay. So they're saying that, they're giving me all their problems, and I've been sending them tapes. They've been listening to the tapes. I've been writing to them. And my son, he's been writing absolutely fantastic letters now, telling me about...
Do you mean uptone?
Uptone, yes, thank you. And he's now saying that he's seen past lives. His dog's been taking him to different areas where in top New Mexico. And then just yesterday, I got a real great uptone, quote, letter from my daughter, yes, and from my grandson. And they're all just, they're vibrating on a much higher frequency.
Right.
And it's just like, this whole, they're picking up too on the all that is.
I thank you for your willingness to perceive those portions of those individuals that already exist on those quote-unquote uptone levels, which means you are now also choosing to exist on the uptone level.
Right.
You follow me? You are now viewing those individuals through that facet of yourself that represents that particular level. That is why you are now perceiving them in that way. Because you yourself are there when you perceive it in that way.
Oh, yes. That's
Every, I'll say, being. Alright, every being. No, alright, I will say, every existence. Every existence, which is what you are, existence, exists everywhere. Because everywhere is a concept which is within existence. You are existence. You contain everywhere. You contain everywhen.
yes.
Therefore, what particular where and when you choose to view yourself through will be what you allow yourself to experience of all the other individuals within existence. Therefore, thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
But what you're saying is all that is.
Yes.
And so we are all that is, or we are part of all that is?
Both.
Both.
Because both ideas exist within all that is. There is no contradiction. Yes. Right.
I have been reading about a council of men, I think it was called the Ecumenical Council, back during the time of King James,
Alright.
who these men took out passages from the Bible,
Yes.
supposedly in order to have a more ruling order over the people, and I think these passages dealt with reincarnation.
Some.
And I was wondering if you could explain more to me about that.
Explain what?
Exactly what happened at this council, what was taken out.
Simply, again, as you have said, understand that there were ideas which they deemed not popular for the opportunity of creating what you term to be converts. Therefore, out it went. You follow me?
Yes.
It was very convenient to simply bend to the popular idea of the time, to gain support, to gain power.
Why is that a popular idea? Not to believe in it.
It had already been promoted to some degree that when you know you are eternal in that way, and that you can decide to do exactly the opposite of what you have done in any particular life, then no one can come along and say, this is it. You had better listen to me now, you will not get another chance. You follow me?
Yes, I do, but why would that become popular? I don't...
Simply understand that there is within many of the civilizations in your past the opportunity to experience the self in what you would term to be negative way. In as such, then those individuals simply felt that they had no need to feel that there would be any reason for them to extend themselves any further, because right then and right there they were the most powerful they could be. Therefore, they wanted to stay right there and right then, and erase from their mentality the idea of needing to, I'll say, reincarnate. Otherwise, that in and of itself would imply that perhaps next time they would choose to be the one who was subjugated, rather than be the one who is subjugating. You follow me? This was not, at the time, in that sense, the passages were removed, totally a conscious idea. It had long since become ingrained in the creation of your sub and unconscious selves. Yes. They simply only at that time recognized it was not popular and saw that it was an avenue, therefore, to win popular support.
So many other systems.
By choice. Question.
I have another question, Al.
Oh, one moment.
I had a friend who made an interesting observation while listening to her speak. They weren't listening to the word, they were listening to the inflection and the emphasis. And we were actually in another room in the table, and he said, that sounds like a Tai Chi class. And I was just, well, I don't know if I really have a question.
All right, thank you. Very good. Understand that there will be in what you perceive to be the inflection and tonality, simply the manifestation, as you would understand it, the translation of the energy of the communication as it is received by the physical medium. It will be, I'll say, quote unquote, to use your terminology, the best interpretation of the conceptual information that is being received with regard to the energy by which it is being transmitted. You follow me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
When you're speaking of we are all that is,
All right, we are all that is again. Still, yes.
Am I like on a much higher level aware of everything that is happening everywhere?
In a sense, yes.
And
You have your own higher consciousness that may then understand that it has a portion of itself sitting here asking questions about the higher portion.
And then there's a portion of itself that is everywhere else.
Yes.
That's quite
All right. As long as it remains unbelievable, you will be focused in this idea.
And how can we?
There is no how can we. You are already there. Allow your timing to unfold.
No way.
Yes, but allowing your timing to unfold.
All right.
So I can basically get into an aspect viewpoint of anything that I want, right?
Yes, in a sense. Again, understand that you have made a certain choice as you have chosen to partake in this overall mass conscious reality. Therefore, to some extent, there will be self-imposed limitations so that you will fulfill the purpose that you have chosen to fulfill. But does not mean you cannot be, to some degree, to a great degree, aware of the connection of yourself to all other levels of yourself. If not in that way, immediately, specifically, consciously, then by effect, you may simply be aware that the effect of knowing that you are on all levels will manifest in your life as the ecstatic explosion of coincidence.
So that would also mean that like everybody in this room and everybody on this planet and so forth is really part of myself.
Yes.
We're all, just all one thing. And,
Yes.
And I am part of them and so forth.
Yes. Every existence, every individual is simply one more way that all that is has of looking at itself.
So it sounds like we are all one, and we are also all. I don't know. Are we
Yes.
all separate? Also?
You have created the idea of separation, therefore that is also a reality. Everything in that way is real. You cannot imagine non-existence. You are existence itself.
That's why I still feel a little confusion or a little bad about...
Bad?
Yeah, well, yeah, about things going on that I wouldn't normally participate in if it's still part of,
All right,
me.
But understand in that way, then you form a judgment which reinforces the negative aspects of those realities. You are saying, oh look, poor them. You are reinforcing the idea that they are, in fact, poor them. Rather than understanding they are making their own choices and are in full control of what they are doing. You are not allowing yourself to recognize them as all that is. You are sending them something less.
So in other words, I just should accept whatever they're doing is being the right thing for them.
Understand everything is unfolding within perfect timing. Therefore, understand it is simply another opportunity for you to view an aspect of yourself as you relate to that situation, thereby defining the reality that is you as well.
Okay, but if for instance, I couldn't see myself in this focus being involved in war and fighting.
All right, then that is the relationship of your reality to that reality.
Right, but the thing is, I am all that is, and war is still part of me.
Yes. So
and,
what?
Oh, okay. So
Thank you. When you remove the importance of that idea, then you will find you will be creating a reality in which you will not perceive the existence of war in that way. You will not be touched by that idea.
Oh, in other words, I won't see the existence of war in that way, meaning that way being bad or negative. I'll see the existence of war as being perfect.
Also, in that way, you will, again, upon creating your own universe and your own transition, physically also, remove yourself from a reality which experiences war in that way.
But I can still perceive it as occurring in the world, right?
You may still perceive it as occurring within the universe.
Right.
Does not mean it has to occur upon your world.
It doesn't occur upon my world. You're not just talking about Earth, you're talking about just my
Why not Earth?
Well, in other words, right now I see it occurring.
All right.
Okay.
But again, an observation, simply as an observation, does not mean necessarily you are reinforcing that reality. Simply you observe. It is the way certain individuals have chosen to discover their own connections to all that is at this time.
So in other words, I don't have to have... In other words, if I don't think of war as negative, if I don't put a judgment on it, I just say war is
you may understand.
And people
all
are
right.
getting something out of it.
You may understand that it may be, I'll say, the expression of what you would term to be a negative effect. But again, does not mean that that is a judgment. Not one moment.
So I'm just trying to get this clear. So
you may still, even though you recognize in that way that individuals may be expressing a negative portion of their energy, that it is still their way to find their connection to all that is at this time.
And so that's actually good for them.
In a sense, but understand that you then, by simply being the reality which does not contain that idea, afford them the opportunity to view you and choose that reality without war if they so desire. Therefore, you are being a choice for them.
And that's the way we have them?
Yes.
Sure. And I don't, but I don't have to, war does not have to affect me.
Nope.
Unless I want it.
Yes.
And I don't have to feel responsible for it as being part of me.
Nope. Not responsible in terms of blame.
But they say that if you don't say anything about something, you do agree with what they do.
Who said anything about that idea? We are not saying that you cannot express yourself, that you cannot simply offer the reality of your peaceful ideas. But understand simply what we are saying is that the expression of yourself is not to judge the war. You do not get peace by hating war. You get peace by loving peace. If you hate war, you are only reinforcing the hate that comes from war. If you love peace, you will be peace. You will act peace. You will be the reality of peace. And therefore, you will be allowing other individuals to see that reality of peace. You will be speaking peace, not speaking against war. It will be a positive action, not a negative denunciation, which would only reinforce the negative energy of the war. Question?
Bashar?
Yes.
I would like to know then, what is the purpose of the 80% of the brain that we're not using?
Who says you are not using it?
Scientists
All right. To their understanding right now, you do not seem to be using it. But they do not know what they are looking for yet. When they understand what they are looking for, they will see you are using it. Understand there is no, in that way, extra.
All the body I use.
Yes. If it is not used, if it is not part of the reality for a specific reason in that way, it is not within that reality.
Then you're losing it.
It will never have been there. Or yes, it will change. It will go out of your reality into another one,
Then I can't stand it.
in a sense. But understand, it still performs for you certain functions. Question?
Question about about time. This doesn't really exist.
It does if you create it to.
Right. Okay. I could decide to shift my viewpoint either while I'm focused in this life or after this life is over. So let's say go back into what I would term the past, maybe live some life again in the past. Now,
Not again.
live it.
You are living it now.
I'm living it now, so I would just be changing my viewpoint.
Yes.
In changing that viewpoint, would I still remember this one having occurred or not? Or
All right, now,
choice?
one moment. Understand again that you are using terminology that comes from time.
Yes.
Would I still remember? Understand simply that when you are non-physical, you perceive all of your lives simultaneously. And the focus in that way will simply fall into whatever time stream it will fall. Therefore, it is not that you are reliving the past life again. It will simply be the past life, as it always has been. No matter where your focus is. You follow me?
Yeah.
Your focus in a past life will still be the past life. When you are physically focused in that past life, it will only seem to be that life. And in the conscious way, you will not in that way, per se, exactly remember this future life, though there may be connections, depending upon the purpose of that past life. There are always bleed-throughs of all your lives to every life. Follow me. Sometimes you may recognize these bleed-throughs as, quote-unquote, sometimes secondary traits. You have, from time to time, the expression of what you call a specific talent. That will be primary for this life. What you term to be secondary interests or talents may be primary in other lives. You follow me? Thank you. Question? Yes?
Started it off first. There's a book that I read, and I don't quite understand. It knows that energy is a function of time.
Yes.
I've been looking at that, and I don't understand.
All right. Understand that all that is simply is existence. That concept is, in your terms, before the idea of energy. Energy is seen to be a substance from which matter is formed in that way. Therefore, even the concept of energy is created after the idea of time in which to experience the concept of energy changing into matter. Therefore, all of what you experience to be any aspect of your physical reality whatsoever is a function of the creation of time itself. You follow me? All of what you experience to be your physical reality is therefore an extension of the concept of time. Time, the concept of time in and of itself, is one of the parameters which defines the idea you call physical reality. Therefore, every concept you have that comes from the idea of physical reality, or is within physical reality, is therefore an extension or an offshoot of the original idea of creating time, which is also the same as creating space. You follow me? Because everything outside of time and space is here and now. Only the concept of time and space make something then and there. You follow me? Question. One moment, please. Thank you.
Well, also, energy is a flow phenomenon that implies potential, differences from here and there. So you have to have,
Yes.
and you have to have the idea of
Yes.
becoming in
Yes.
order to have energy.
Yes. Thank you.
I wanted to say something about what we were talking about war.
Yes.
Or other similar quote-unquote negative things.
All right.
The thing about war is that all those participating, the victims, the little children, people with their heads blown off, everything, they're all there by choice.
Yes, to a great degree in a sense.
Yeah, and another thing is that there are certain, this is just my reality, there's certain vectors involved, which is when a person is experiencing the idea of further separation from all that is, and let's say they decide to embark upon a certain cycle of separation. They set for themselves signposts of when you can say it's time to come back, in a sense, or it's time to turn around and come the other way.
Yes.
So it's less separation. At that point, then, because as long as they're going towards further separation, they wouldn't even generally pull into their reality people like us who are sitting there going, who are sitting here being peace for them to look at because they're totally happy with their choices. That's what they're doing.
Yes.
At the point, though, that when they have decided that they're going to turn around, they've already decided ahead of time that they're going to turn around and go the other direction, that then sets up like a psychic vibration that goes out into the universe that draws to it people who will come and fulfill those roles of being examples for them, or being a guide for them, or being this or being that.
Yes.
Just themselves that they already set up.
Yes.
And so the wars, like wars on our planet, we feel that compassion, and we that desire to see it not having to happen, simply because those participating are also creating that, desire, imminent desire to not have it happen.
All right, but understand one idea, which I will call a distinction. Just compassion in and of itself does not carry any judgment of a desire to see something happen or not happen. Compassion is simply the total, unconditional support of any reality that anyone has chosen.
Right. But what I perceive among many people on this planet right now is more than just that compassion.
Yes.
The actual desire
Yes.
to not have that war happen.
Yes.
So all I'm saying is that it's not specifically a judgment, simply that the people creating the wars too are also creating that desire.
Yes.
Not because the war is this horrible thing that, oh God, we've been living in agony so long, but just
It is a tool which no longer serves your purpose.
Right, so they're ready for a change, and so that's what I'm saying.
Yes. Thank you.
Bashar?
Oh, yes.
To take this a little bit further then, we have committed ourselves to this physical life, to make commitments.
All right.
Okay. They create for themselves a situation where they no longer can face this physical life, so then they commit suicide. What happens with commitment? Is that in their commitment?
Only to a degree. It is within their commitment then to come back. It will be, in that case, to a degree, the only representation of the idea of breaking a commitment. Understand that all death is suicide, since you always choose your own death. The time and the place, in a sense. The timing, more appropriately. But what you term to be suicide is the translation of the idea of the free will to break the commitment ahead of your own schedule. Therefore, once that commitment is broken, once the being becomes reintegrated within all of their own consciousness, they recognize that they still wish to continue that commitment. Therefore, they re-emerge into physical reality. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
And they will, for the most part, experience much the same set of circumstances which gave them the opportunity to integrate themselves in the first place. They will have much the same type of life.
So that's why when we feel that we have been playing this record before, it's because we have not finished our commitment.
Oh, not in the sense that you mean you have committed suicide again and again. No. It is simply, again, not that you have played exactly the same thing, but that there are many facets within the overall commitment that you have made. You are always experiencing something quite different.
Although there are similarities?
There are some similarities when you are involved in the completion of I'll say, overall mass consciousness cycle. You follow me? Then it is the aspects of the cycle itself which give you the similar flavor.
Okay, so the mass consciousness...
Until you change the cycle, then you will have a different feeling.
So then the mass consciousness has something to do with it also? Is this what you're saying?
When you are partaking within one cycle which covers many lives, then if you are going to have many lives within that cycle, they will all seem to have a similar purpose in getting to a certain point. Thank you. Question.
So as far as terminal illnesses and diseases are concerned, then we choose to bring those on ourselves?
Yes. It is one way, in that way, of shifting your perspective from the physical to the non-physical according to a timing which may serve a purpose within the physical reality. Always you may view it as an opportunity for those, in your terms, who are quote-unquote left behind, to view certain ideas about themselves they have not previously considered. When it is done in that way as a service, then It may be viewed as an opportunity to view other portions of yourself, other ideas about your reality, and to gain more insight into the integration of your overall consciousness, rather than experiencing the judgmental idea of separation or sense of loss. Understand that that idea of what you took to be mourning in that way for those individuals is something that pertains to your own sense of loss, not for them. Question. Now, one moment. You may also in that way understand that the experiencing in that way, beyond a certain point, of the sense of separation and loss will and always is continually being transmitted to those individuals who have died. It is again reinforcing the idea that you are not willing to be connected to them still and not willing to receive the love that they are always sending to you from that viewpoint. Therefore, if you allow yourself to view them as existing within a knowing portion of themselves, a knowing portion of all that is in that way, then you may allow yourself to experience the communication, in a sense, which does always continue. Then there will be no experiencing of the sense of separation and loss. You will know that everything is still right here and right now, and you will have gained an insight into the integration of yourself also as a portion of all that is. You follow me? Thank you. Question.
Just to clarify what you just said, because it's going real fast, I would allow myself to allow the others to recognize that what has occurred to them has served purpose for them.
And also for those who have chosen to perceive it. Yes. When you view your reality and whatever occurs within your reality as the perfect unfoldment of your purpose, then you will always be able to see the purpose behind any event in your reality. Thank you.
I had another question on this time thing. I'm still a little confused.
All right, this time thing. Now, first of all, allow me simply to say, you are within the idea of time. Therefore, understand it serves your purpose. There is really no need to struggle to get out of it, nor to understand it from a point of view you have not chosen to have at this time. Understand simply that there will always be then for you in the choosing of this physical reality with its limitations, the difficulty in understanding fourth dimensional concepts with a third dimensional dictionary.
This is what we're talking about on time, fourth dimensional concepts.
To view it from the idea of outside of time is a fourth dimensional viewpoint, but a non-physical fourth dimensional viewpoint.
Well, the only thing seems like if everything is going on at the same time, then everything is occurring, has always occurred, and so forth. Seems to be like it's all predestined in a way.
Not really.
Which doesn't make sense to me that it would be that way.
It is not that way. Again, there is no contradiction. Understand that to have everything there already, and yet also to have constant, new, ongoing creation, only seems to be a contradiction in the third dimensional idea. It is not a contradiction in the fourth dimensional one.
Is there any way to explain it so that I can understand it? Is it not being a contradiction? Because it does seem like that. Well, from what you're saying,
all right. First of all, understand that if you can perceive both ideas, then understand that on some level of your consciousness, since everything comes from you, they must be blended somewhere. You follow me so far?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Am I sure? Well, I'm not really sure what the blending would be.
All right.
I can see two ideas that one seems like predestined, the other is that it's all happening at the same time. Although I guess I'm confused about it all happening at the same time, because it's like if I was aware here of like a billion different lives going on at the same time.
All right, perhaps understand once again, it is a matter of focus. What is the new, quote-unquote, creation is the viewpoint from which you are looking at all that is as it already exists. It is the new creation, in a sense, of a viewpoint of that which already exists. It is a new viewpoint of existence. That is the new creation. But understand that to have a new viewpoint of existence, then there must already be an existence which constantly exists and contains everything.
The same way as all the things that happen in one moment on the earth or in the universe, the earth is going around and the moon is coming out and the sun is still there, and all that, those things are there at once.
In a sense. But because of time, you do not experience them simultaneously. Question. Do you wish one? Question.
When you were talking about the fourth dimension, if I all of a sudden woke up and see that I was in the fourth dimension, would I also be perceiving the same people that I perceived in the third dimension?
Not if you perceived you were in the fourth dimension, not necessarily. The idea in and of itself of perceiving yourself in a different dimension implies a different possible reality of experience.
Is part of that actually not even remembering the third dimension?
It can be that way.
Could be it could be a parallel universe, too, where
Very good.
you meet the same people, but they're all operating at that level.
In a sense, yes. Again, it will not matter whether you, quote-unquote, know where or when you are or not. It is the experience in and of itself which determines the idea of where and when. But the experience in and of itself is what you are, not the where and when.
So I'm actually trying to figure things out in a way, kind of keeps us
From experiencing yourself. Question.
When you said that time, the idea of viewing time from the outside of time is a non-physical, fourth-dimensional idea.
Yes.
Is that as distinguished from a physical fourth-dimensional idea?
In a sense.
Okay, so is it like in the fourth dimension you can view things, you can view time from outside of time, although at the same time you could operate with the consciousness?
To some degree, yes. That will be possible in one particular idea of the fourth dimension.
Oh, okay. So within the fourth dimension there could be physical, more physical or less physical.
Yes.
Somewhat. Which is even third dimension.
Yes. Thank you. Question.
It seems as though, it's appearing like this plane is quite restrictive.
That is one of the ideas.
Is that so you can focus better and maybe learn to focus?
Through this idea, yes. The self-imposed limitation is to afford you the opportunity to view yourself from this particular viewpoint. Therefore, it would not serve a purpose in that way to be able to skip in and out of the viewpoint until you have served the purpose of the focus you have created. You follow me?
Yeah,
Alright, but again, understand that that idea in and of itself is its own reality, and one that is potentially, I say, connected to the transformation your world is going through. But it is a different idea, and therefore a different reality, within the third dimensional density, and or fourth. You follow me? That is why you are finding yourself attracted now to that idea. Because it is becoming partly a portion of the idea of your new reality on a mass conscious basis. But it is not that you have, I'll say, this idea and then a portion of this idea in that way blended into that idea, and then a portion of that idea blended into another idea. Each idea in and of itself is its own complete reality. Follow me? Therefore you have the idea reality, that you are limited in such and such a way. Another idea reality, that you are limited in another such and such way, is a totally different reality. Not the same one with alteration. You follow me?
Yes.
Every new idea, every new perspective is a new reality. Reality, again, is only the viewpoint of existence which you choose. That is what you call reality. Yes. As you create time from moment to moment to moment to moment, you have that many realities. They have some sense of continuity because you have chosen to experience them as such. Understand, there are dimensional realities whose perceptual reality does flicker from moment to moment to moment into something quite different. Your idea of continuity of time is one of the ideas of your physical reality. A hypothetical thing, all right? Then it will be in the hypothetical dimension.
In one reality, a man falls in love with a woman, and the woman happens to be married, and in his reality, well, in that particular reality, there's two ways to be with that woman the way he might want. Yet, if he were willing to still hold on to the idea that he could be with her, he could move into another reality where she wasn't married.
In a sense, yes, that can occur. But understand that you may perceive the transition in many ways. One way, while retaining your focus in the idea you call this reality, may be to see that woman's situation change and become quote-unquote available. Another way simply may be to shift your perspective to the other reality totally, where she is not married.
Oh, okay. Fine. Yes.
Both will be the entering and shifting into another reality. It will simply have occurred according to the quote-unquote rules that you can allow yourself to believe in one reality, and perhaps according to another set of rules in another way.
So any because anything you can imagine will happen.
Yes.
So, but of course we really have to know that we can do that. When we talked a few months back about the idea that someone died in one reality and we still wanted to be with that person physically if they were still alive in another reality, if you were able to know that, so that you could.
All right, but understand that you already do know. Now, if you mean consciously, that is not always necessary, no. Again, it will determine by the purpose you have chosen. Realize, again, as the analogy we have given before, using your own symbol, there is this woman, as you say, she is married. There is this man, as you say, he wishes to be with this woman. Realizes she is married, realizes he cannot be. He goes away. Does not see her for a couple of months. One day, runs into her. She says, I am not married. Or he says, are you still married? She says, no. Now, how does he know if that is the same woman or not? How does he know? He has not shifted into that alternate parallel universe and met another woman. What does it matter anyway? Thank you. Yes, and it will be, even if he were able to watch the process of her changing from the married state to the non-married state, it would still be another woman. Because the idea of the woman in a married state is not the same idea of the woman in an unmarried state. Therefore, they are two separate identities. Two separate realities. Because each and every idea is its own universe. All right, but understand that many times in that way, It will simply be because you recognize that the purpose for any particular idea relationship has been served. Period.
We kind of make bigger deals out of it.
Yes. Question.
You've talked before about different things happening because of energy. I mean, you talked about the hummingbirds appearing, and I was wondering if there's anything coming up. Is there a particular point?
Oh, there are many things in your reality that are quote-unquote coming up.
That's true. But I mean, anything you point out, watch for this time because there's going to be.
Now, what if I did that and it did not come to pass?
I understand. I mean, other people have expressed. They said, I was here one time when I said, you said such and such was going to happen, and it happened, and I didn't feel a thing, and you said because you didn't perceive it. But so I was just kind of looking for something
right.
to see whether I was going to perceive it.
All right. But again, understand that you are already creating your own perceptions, your own signposts. What do you, in the asking of your question, within your imagination, perceive would be a representative symbol of that idea? When you asked the question, you must have had something in mind. Even if it was only a flicker of a picture in your imagination. There must have been some representational picture of what you meant.
Oh.
Find it.
There must have.
Find it.
Well, I'm looking.
All right. Do not look too hard. Let your imagination have free rein. Ask the question again.
I know. Probably because we've just entered the sun sign of Gemini, and me being a Gemini,
Yes.
I just was, because, I don't know where I'm going with this.
All right. Very good. Thank you. First of all, understand we are not asking you for a because. We are asking you for the image that you had when you asked the question.
Well, that's what started it.
Started it. What was the picture? The idea of your quote-unquote astrological transition?
Yes.
Then understand that that will be one sign for you. Again, understand that when you ask a question, many times the question is only asked because you do not trust the image that is there as the answer. Questions are the separation of the self from the answer that is already there. So automatically that many times you do not even remember having had a picture. But when you ask the question, realize that you do have some feeling or picture about what you think you mean. That feeling or picture is already your answer. The question comes after. When you choose to have the flash and separate yourself from it, that cannot be right. Therefore, I will ask. However, it gave me a feeling to ask a question.
Right.
That feeling is the answer. You follow me? When you allow yourself to become immersed in that feeling, you will see your own answer. You will be aware consciously of your own signposts, of what to look for. Understand, however, that there really is no need to look. You will always know them when you see them or feel them. That is, by definition, what they are. Moments that you always recognize for that idea. You follow me?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to hear something from you, but I really still haven't figured out quite what it was.
Thank you.
But I do understand your point about the question.
Thank you. When you have realized what it is, you will hear it. Perhaps from me, perhaps from yourself, perhaps from someone else.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you. Question?
Bashar?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I've heard that next Monday you will be speaking on some kind of subject. Can you clarify what you're going to be
simply again, very briefly, there will be opportunity now within your mass consciousness for us to share with you to some degree, some of the ideas within your mass consciousness as they are now unfolding to a point where you may consciously be aware of some of the pattern you have chosen with regard to your relationship to other civilizations and the manifestation of your conscious awareness upon your planet of the interaction of your planet with those civilizations. Some degree. In a sense. Question.
Yeah, well, I have a question statement. What I'd like to see on Wednesday night is so far they've been, like you, as soon as you come in, ask how we are, and then you say question. And on Monday night, you seem to be, sometimes rather than just going right into questions, actually having some kind of topic that you first talk about. And I would like to see that happen here.
Oh, very good! Now, therefore, understand simply this was opportunity for you to take situation in control. And realize that you can at any time create whatever type of interaction you wish. Therefore, understand, however, there will also be opportunity for you to give a topic. Thank you. Therefore, feel free at any time to make statements, to discuss, to share of yourself, and make the idea anything that you feel like making it. Question.
Can you talk on love and explain what love is?
Can you?
Love and life?
Thank you. Very, very, very good. Love, unconditional love, is your translation of the energy of creation itself. What you feel to be the support, in a sense, of any particular idea, reality, that you allow yourself to experience. The very reason for its existence is the idea you call love. The compassion to create. Follow me. The compassion to create. The compassion to know yourself as a creator is love. The compassion to know all ideas, individuals, situations, relationships, objects, dimensions as the creator, as valid, as equal in expression is love. It is the service to all that is, which automatically supports you, because you are also all that is. Question.
Yeah, it's like the same as the idea of the word devotion has come up a lot. I wrote a song called Devotion a few years ago, and then recently I hadn't listened to the song for a while, and I started playing it again. And then all of a sudden I hear the word all over the place. I hear at different places people talking about devotion.
All right, it will be one representational symbol of the idea, again, of simply allowing yourself to know of the alignment that you create with any particular idea or reality, and therefore recognize your commitment in the creation of that idea. The commitment, the devotion to allow yourself to experience what you have given yourself for its own purpose, for your purpose, as your purpose.
Because in a way, the way things happen in our life is because we can become devoted to a particular idea, a particular expression, and that devotion is like a love that brings it about, whether it's a so-called negative condition or positive.
Yes, in a sense. Thank you.
Oh, Bashar, I noticed something else. I was just looking at that idea of compassion and love, and that just trying to find a very common, everyday occurrence of that. And it's true. It's like whenever whenever we love somebody a lot, it's like we're very, I would use the word loosely, but tolerant of them. In other words, compassion.
Yes.
In other words, we were really much more willing to allow them to be whoever they are.
Yes. Thank you. Question.
Bashar.
Yes.
I just found out about a disease that I have. It's called Candida albicans. It's a yeast that lives within the human body. Everyone has it, but its only problem is it goes out of proportion. And I have a lot more. It's causing symptoms, and I intend to overcome it. And I was told the only way to get over it is to starve it out. You just don't give it any of the things that it feeds on, like breads or sugars of any kind. And there's some different schools of thought as to what people should and shouldn't eat. Some people say that you shouldn't eat potatoes, too high in carbohydrates, and some other people say you should eat lots of them because there's lots of minerals in it, and also fruits, because you shouldn't be eating sugar if you want to overcome this disease. Some people say you shouldn't eat any fruits or fruit juices.
Can you allow yourself, when you consider the symbol ideas of each and every different food, as you understand food to exist, to sense within you whether your body wants it or not?
It's not a matter of my body wants it. It's a matter of...
Why not?
Foods. Well, my body would like to eat breads too, but that's not going to help.
One moment, please. Understand again, you are making a separation between your consciousness and your physical form. When you are totally integrating the idea that your body is your consciousness, then you will know that your body, as well as your consciousness, will always wish to be centered and balanced. Therefore, if it knows itself not to be centered and balanced, it will not want to eat certain things that would continue the upset of the balance. If you pay attention and listen to yourself in that way, very calmly, viewing, even holding, if you wish, the food in your hand, you will know whether you really feel like eating it or not.
Why do people have a craving for certain foods?
Many times, again, because that is one way that they may give themselves opportunity to listen to their body as it requires that for the idea of centering.
In other words, they overdo it until they have to listen, until it's being too loud.
The idea you experience as the idea for the most part of craving is when, in a sense, you require something within the body then to re-establish the balance. Therefore, you crave that idea from a lack. You follow me?
But people crave stuff like tobacco and sugar and stuff that...
It is a different idea. It is not in that way, quote unquote, natural craving. It is in that sense, really, more the unwillingness to be responsible for certain portions of yourself. It is more the running away. They crave not being responsible. You follow me?
Does that mean we shouldn't listen to, what the nutritionists say about how to overcome the disease, but just...
Many times again, understand that whatever you give yourself as a symbol is always valid for you, but understand you always can tell when your beliefs are in line with what anyone else says or not. You can always tell when you do not feel like eating something or not. When you know, as you say deep down, that something would not just feel right. It just would not taste right now. This is not really what I want. My body is telling me this is not really what you want.
But there are some things that don't taste good that aren't good for you, or that are good for you, like eating
again,
oils or something.
all of those ideas in that sense, again, stem from you. Everything in that way that you will need to give yourself, when you know that that really is what you want, it will, in that sense, taste just fine.
some things taste awful sharp. With vitamin C, sometimes it tastes awful sharp and bitter, but it's good.
Do all of them?
No.
Thank you.
But some of them
So what?
taste sharp and bitter, but they're still good for us.
All right, but again, understand that simply there is still the opportunity for you to find the ideal version that does not create that unpleasantness for you.
I just get used to the taste.
That is your choice. Question.
So on food, when there's an hesitation, when you want something and some little voice inside of you shouldn't have it, then you have to weigh it and listen to this and then choose.
Determine, yes, in that sense, whether, in that way, the voice is the voice of unwillingness or the voice of choice.
How can you work on the unwillingness?
Again, how can? Simply listen. You will understand how. It is automatic. You will know.
What is the voice of unwillingness?
The idea of creating a craving for unresponsibility. In other words, if you feel you have a craving for something, and there is seeming conflict within you, the idea of the voice, as was mentioned. Which voice is the centering self? Which voice is the voice not willing to take responsibility, that is running away? You will be able to tell the difference if you listen to both.
Mm-hmm. So you have to stop different feelings.
Yes.
Bashar.
Yes.
This is what happened to me. They keep, they say you have to take these vitamins, this vitamin, all these vitamins. My body says, I can't handle these vitamins. And then I got caught in that thing and started taking handfuls of this, handfuls of that. And I started getting very, very sick again. I thought, now, hey, my body says no. Just because somebody else can handle this, I can't.
Very good.
And I listen to my body, now I'm starting to feel very good again.
Thank you. Now, allow me to say thank you for then pointing out the idea, as you have said, all right, there are these things which are good for me, but I do not like them. Therefore, understand simply that what you are allowing yourself to experience is the idea symbol that, yes, there are ideas that will cause there to be a change for the positive effect, but still along with that idea is the attached portion of that idea reality that what cures you must also be a bitter pill. As a punishment reminder that you got sick in the first place. Therefore, well, all right, this symbol will cure me, but I must, in that sense, chastise myself for having gotten sick in the first place. Therefore, a little bit of my judgment will manifest into the idea that the only pill I will find will be a bitter one. It will cure me, but it will be a bitter one. It will be centering with a little bit of judgment. Question. Yes?
I'd like to say something about the candida you mentioned. I don't want to get into any why you might case this for yourself, but I had the same experience. I had that at one time, and sort of like an intestinal. Anyway, I went to this wonderful doctor who gave me these homeopathic things, and I took some of them. And then I got bored with the idea, and it all went away, and I started taking the pill. So it's just like what I looked at was, it's like we're constantly changing. There's like no moment is ever the same moment, and so we just go from thing to thing to thing, whatever it is we teach ourselves. It's kind of an interesting look.
Thank you. Understand also, therefore, there will be opportunity in this sharing to realize that there are many reflections, individuals round and about you, who may also, in that way, allow themselves to be reflections for you and shed some light on your own creations.
And when one of the things that I wanted to let you know is like if you did want to have something for that, if there are some homeopathic remedies that are quite effective.
Are they bitter?
Oh, really?
Do you think you would like that?
I'm going to take care of it.
Thank you.
Bitter or sweet, I'm going to do
Right.
what I'm going to do.
Thank you. There will be a few more, as we say, minutes within the timing of this sharing question.
I have a question. I've been involved in Scientology, for a while, and I'm looking at that it doesn't seem to serve my purpose.
All right.
I've lost interest.
All right.
But I'm just trying to see if you have anything to say about what I feel. I've been looking at how Scientology, you look at your past and the patterns that have been formed in your past, negative things that are that you try to look at, clear up, and get rid of, so that your present is better and so forth.
That is the idea. Yes.
But the thing is, what I've been looking at is that if you look at everything as being perfect,
Yes.
and everything has always been perfect, if you look at it from a time sense,
Yes.
then nothing really is negative. Nothing that has occurred has really been
Very good.
negative, and therefore really can't be affecting you negatively at this point.
Very good.
And therefore, there's no need to look at those things. There's no need to look back at them because they were perfect and they were right.
Thank you.
Okay, so then there would be no need to. That's what Scientology is all about.
Understand also in that way that there really is no place you can get rid of anything to.
And all those experiences in your life has brought you where you are now.
Yes.
So if anything, it seems to me that if anything comes up now that I would consider to be, I don't like it, I would just view it and I can just change it just like that.
Very good.
Just from viewing it. And but I don't know what it is. I guess I haven't made like a final decision if I should do anything.
You are doing something right now. You are constantly transforming, constantly changing. You will always then simply again realize that this in and of itself is also perfect.
Yes.
Allow it to be so. It will always continue to give you that positive effect. You always are on track. Everything that you have done has always been for the purpose of your own unfoldment according to the path you have chosen to be. Therefore, again, no need to judge. Simply go along for the ride, enjoy yourself. Thank you.
I have a statement.
All right.
I have done the same thing as Sue has done, is that I used to belong to certain groups and I don't vibrate to the same vibrations anymore, and I have no need to go there, so I let go of it, and I don't feel guilty that I'm not going there anymore.
All right. Thank you.
And also, whenever the way I used to vibrate from my past and my emotions from the past, I am able today to just let go and to be in the moment and not be affected the way I used to be, because my life was like this and so and this and that and that, and today, life is so simple.
Thank you. That is the whole idea. We will say once again that always we enjoy sharing in that way our consciousness, your consciousness. We always extend in that way our deepest love unconditionally to you. Therefore understand that because you can perceive that we are sending that unconditional love to you, therefore in order to perceive it you must already contain it. Therefore that unconditional love also is there in your reality for you to make whatever you wish of it. Your reality is always unconditional love.